What's up guys, it's Michael Sampson here, and in this video I want to go over the two things I invested in that literally changed the trajectory of my life, and if I ever have kids, their lives and their lives and their lives down the family lineage. But before we dive into that, I just want to share a story with you guys with the gentleman who basically showed me that remote sales was a thing. This was my first initial mentor, if you want to call it. And he was mentoring me without even knowing that he was a mentor. But this guy was a consistent six-figure earner, year after year after year after year, selling remotely. And he was really doing very well when it came to making good money in the niche, good money in the industry. But sales will either do one of two things for you. And that's why I wanted to make this video, because if you're not smart, if you're not investing in these two things, you could potentially wind up like this guy, and I don't want that to happen. This guy's an amazing dude, nothing bad to say, but there's a huge story to learn about this. OPE, other people's experiences, right? You can learn from your own experience or other people's experiences. I want you guys to learn from another individual's experience. So this was this gentleman's experience. He did very good in remote sales. He made a lot of money, multiple six figures, year after year after year, but life happened. What do I mean life happened? He got divorced. He lost his kids, he lost his vehicles, he lost his house. He lost it all, everything, and people have hard times. I totally understand that, no judgment. Things happen, you can always bounce back. I firmly believe that. What ended up happening with this gentleman, and real conversation, I was in the mall not long ago doing some shopping. I ran into this guy. Not only did he lose everything that I just discussed, but the guy's now homeless. He looks like he's 100 pounds. And the way it looks, and God forbid this happens, but the way it looks is he might not be on this earth for another month or two if he carries on doing what he's doing. He got hooked on drugs, and life got it. I don't know what to say. I'm lost for words, but I use that example because that's an example of how this industry could really fuck you if you're not smart with your money, if you're not smart with your investments, if you don't put yourself and position yourself in a way where you could really get ahead, right? And I don't know what your life looks like, but if you want to be that guy, great. If not, great. And that's why I want to go over these two things, that instead of buying alcohol, drugs, and doing God knows what, if you put your money into these two things, once you start making good money, or even if you're not making good money, like just a little bit of money, but you want to start those habits, right? I highly suggest doing this too. So the first thing that's changed my life is investing in real estate. Okay, now why real estate? There's stocks, there's bonds, there's a bunch of different things, and I'm not going to knock any other investment vehicle, but I personally chose real estate because I love houses. It's a tangible asset. In my head, I understand real estate very well. And again, I'm not a real estate expert by any means. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not any of those people. It's just one avenue, but real estate's what I chose to invest my money into. The first few years when I was making 300, 400, 500,000, that's where I was putting a lot of my income. Now, once you break it down with real estate, there's a million different ways to make $1 million in real estate. You could fix and flip. You could wholesale to Canadian buyers. You could wholesale to American buyers. You could long-term rental. You could short-term rental. There's new construction. There's birds. There's a bunch of different avenues that all sound super sexy, that all could get that end goal. But at the end of the day, we don't get involved in remote sales to just make a shit ton of money and burn it every single year. You want to have a vision to basically build generational wealth. And I feel real estate was the simplest and the easiest way, especially with the strategy I'm using. So what did I do? For the first couple of years, once I started making real money, 300, 400,000 plus consistently, I park that money into a buy and hold real estate asset. What do I mean by that? Literally, it's just as what it sounds like. I bought the property, I'm holding the property, and I'm renting it out. Why am I doing that? Because they're paying my mortgage. I'm basically gonna have a house when it's all said and done that's cleared and paid off, and I can make quote unquote passive, and I'm gonna get into it because really it's not a passive income when you're doing rentals. I'm just gonna be raw, I'm gonna be authentic, I'm gonna keep it real. So with these two houses, I decided at first, let me do Airbnb. I'm gonna short-term rental it. I've never done it before, but from what I'm seeing online, there's crazy money in the game. You can make so much more money compared to traditional long-term rental. And who knows, it might be fun. It might be something new and exciting. So I did Airbnb for my first 3 or 4 years with these two properties that I own in Canada. And the money was stupid, not gonna lie. There's really good money, only in the peak seasons though. In the months of June, July, August, that's when you're making money hand over fist. I'm talking 10, 12, 15 grand plus a month for a $2,000, $2,000, $2,500 mortgage, right? So you could do the math on that. There's definitely a huge ROI on that. What I was not aware about is the Airbnb business is not the rental business. You're in the hospitality business. Now, that's not a bad thing, but it's something that I wish I really grasped prior to getting involved in it. Because with you being in the hospitality business, basically what you are is you're running a hotel. You're literally running a hotel. Now, think about all the tasks that a hotel have to do. They have to check in their guests. If something goes sideways, then you have to add immediate service. The place has to be immaculate. There's a lot of little things that you have to do. So yes, in theory, you're technically making more money than a traditional rental, but there's so much more work that's involved with it. Like there's multiple times where in the middle of the night, I would get a message from my guests saying, hey, how do I turn on or off the air conditioner? Or hey, how do I turn on the furnace? Hey, how do I use the appliances? And these are all little things, but again, you're in hospitality. Your job is to make that person feel like they're at home. Your job is to basically kiss their ass whenever they have whatever little thing or little issue that comes up. Now, not to knock Airbnb, but one thing that I really frowned upon with Airbnb is that it's very review heavy. Now, what I mean by that is a guest could leave you a 3, it's basically a rating system. 5 stars is the best rating. And anything, like they push you for excellence. They want you to get all 5 stars. The thing is, you're not going to please everybody, right? Some person might leave you a 3-star review and you ask, hey, I noticed you gave me a 3-star review. Why is that? And then they hit you up saying, oh, there wasn't enough paper towels, or oh, the water wasn't hot enough, or the water pressure wasn't, some little thing. Now, why that's annoying is because Airbnb's algorithm only pushes out those that have top reviews. And if you look at my reviews today, I do have 4.9 something, like they're good reviews. But the demand for excellence is just so high, and the rating scale is just so unfair that you're always at the mercy of the guest. At least that's how it felt for me, right? I was always trying to bend over backwards. I was always trying to go above and beyond, and that's good. You want to have that kind of service. You want to really service your guests, but that was just something annoying about it. And when I really sat down and looked at my numbers, I was only making real money from January to August. The other months were like questionable. So after 4 years or 3 or 4 years of Airbnb, I decided, you know what? I no longer think I want to do this on this level anymore. Another thing, it's basically a part-time job. You have to hire cleaners. You have to make sure everything's on point. I actually had a massive issue come up where a pipe burst underneath the ground, It flooded out my basement. I had to get the guest out of my house, and basically I refunded them half of their money because I felt bad that, you know, I'm spoiling their trip even though it was outside of my concern. And to make a long story short with that was a $10,000 fix. And I had to take the listing off Airbnb for 3 weeks. So when people say real estate, oh, it's passive, it's this and that, at the end of the day, there's work that needs to happen. Toilets are gonna plug. When I actually got here, real story, I literally touched down here in Dubai. The first text message I get is from one of the units. Hey, Michael, the toilet's having issues. We can't flush our toilet. So take this in. I haven't had sleep in like 20 hours. The first message I read is something regarding this house. So I'm hitting up a plumber saying, dude, can you immediately go over there and fix this issue? But you know what? It's a part of the game. It is what it is. It's a part of the real estate game when you get involved in it. And when it's all said and done, the house is going to appreciate in value. I'm going to have a house paid off in full by the tenants because they're paying the mortgage, and hopefully have some profits from that rental income coming in. So what the strategy I'm doing now is, I have these 2 rental properties, and the goal is to buy a rental a year. That's what I'm trying to do right now. A rental a year is the goal. It's pretty ambitious, but I figure you don't need 20 million properties to have generational wealth or to even set yourself up for retirement. Let's be realistic here. To set yourself up for a decent retirement, I feel if you have 3 to 5 rental properties paid off in full when it's time to retire, you should be in good shape. But anyways, back to the conversation. Instead of Airbnb-ing these properties for 12 months of the year, what I'm now doing is I'm doing a midterm rental. So a midterm rental meaning from September to June or to end of May, in that time frame, I find somebody to rent the house at a set monthly rate. So real examples here with these 2 properties. At one property, it's a 6-bedroom house. There's a group of 5 to 6 university students. They love this this housing because it's right beside their school. It's already a furnished house, okay? And they don't have to, they're only there for that 6 to 8 months because they're just finishing their degree. So with the midterm rental, they're there for that short duration of time. After that duration's up, I flip it back on Airbnb for my money-making months, which are June to August, and then rinse and repeat the cycle. Since I've been utilizing this play, I have more time, it's been more passive. Yes, I'm not making money hand over fists with the midterm rentals during the midterm rental season. However, I have stability. I'm profiting like $800 to $1,000 once you take out the mortgage. So I'm still making decent money doing this. I'm getting higher rents than if it was just a traditional rental. Plus, I'm getting the best of both worlds because I'm able to flip it back to Airbnb after they're out of that lease. So that's what I've been doing now, and it's been absolutely great. I've had more peace of mind, and it's, in my opinion, in my marketplace, it's been a better business model. So again, the 2 things you need to do once you start making good money in remote sales is invest in real estate. And there's many things you can invest in. You could do the stock market, you could do crypto, you could do whatever. I'm just sharing what I did and what's working for me. Again, there's a million different ways to get to that $1 million goal if that's your goal. This is what I did, okay? So take it with a grain of salt. Treat it like a buffet table. If you like it, eat it. If you don't like it, just forget what I'm saying. The second thing, though, that you should be non-negotiable about investing, and now this is completely non-negotiable, is investing in yourself. Courses, coaching, mastermind, audiobooks, audio programs, investing in yourself. Warren Buffett was asked, okay, dude, if you had to start from scratch, you had no money to invest in the stock market, to invest in real estate, how would you make your first few bucks, and then what would you invest in? And his response, the investment I would make once I make my first few bucks is investing in myself. It's something that can't be taxed. No one can take it away from you. you're shielded from inflation, and it's something that will give you lifetime returns because you're always going to have skills. You're always going to have skills that pay the bills, is what I like to say. So if that's advice that's coming from somebody like Warren Buffett, a man that's worth more than the amount of money I'll ever see in my life, a multi-billionaire, whatever it is, there's some proof in the pudding, right? Success leaves clues. So at the time, what he did was invest in Dale Carnegie's speaking program to become a better public speaker, to become a better communicator. Because communication, regardless of what industry you're in, whether you're dealing with animals, whether you're dealing with sales, whether you're working in a gym, whether you're a doctor, whether you're a lawyer, communication skills are always going to be required for you to achieve whatever level of success you need to achieve within that niche and within that industry. So investing in yourself, the number one thing you need to be doing when it comes to investing when you have money in remote sales. And even if you don't have money, you need to be investing in yourself. Like I actually got, and this is shocking, I got a call from my accountant literally 3 days ago while I'm here in Dubai. And she said, Mike, last year in 2024, you invested over $75,000 in these coaching programs, in these seminars, and all these business trainings. Like that's a grip of money. And it's funny I actually laughed out loud to hear that, because a little background about myself. Growing up, I was put in slow classes. In the 8th grade, I was put in something called an integrated occupational program, which is just a fancy way of saying, hey, this kid is a slow learner. This guy needs extra attention. He needs extra help. And because of that, to be transparent, it really damaged my self-confidence. It really made me feel some type of way about school. I didn't like learning. I didn't like being in the educational system because of that. I associated all this pain to that. So fast forward, once I graduated high school, which I barely did, just by a friggin' hair, I barely graduated high school, I was forced to do some upgrading. So I went to university trying to figure out what the hell it is that I'm trying to do. And I remember this day like it was yesterday. Me and my buddy were sitting down in this sociology class, which to this day, I don't know what the hell I was doing in it. Like I was just a lost young puppy. I didn't know what the hell I wanted to do in it. So I'm sitting down in class and I look to my buddy. I'm like, bro, we've been here for 6 months. I'm out. I'm not coming back. He's like, bro, what do you mean you're not coming back? I'm like, dude, I'm done. I'm not coming back. And that day, I decided to drop out of university. And my thought process was, school is bullshit. I hate school. I don't like this. It's not for me. The reason why I dropped out, though, is I had a friend that was making good money in a commission-only environment. And he showed me checks of earning $8,000, $10,000 a month. And I'm like, okay, if what this guy is showing me isn't bullshit and this is real, what the hell am I doing in school? So I decided to drop out. My parents weren't happy about it. But what I learned at that young age is money talks. Once I made my first big check, showed my mom, look at this. She's like, okay, I no longer hate your decision. In fact, I support it. In fact, I was your #1 cheerleader. Keep doing you, right? So money speaks all languages. Once you start producing, once you see some success, your parents definitely start to support. At least that was the case for me. With that being said, though, you want to finish what you start. And I'm not the best example of that, because with that was a waste of time for me. And I'm not knocking formal education, but the amount of friends, the amount of colleagues I know that have finished their formal schooling and they're engineers working in fucking Starbucks, or they're engineers working in McDonald's. And again, no disrespect. I get you have to work your way up the corporate ladder and that you have to figure things out. But that just didn't make sense to me. That didn't make any sense to me. But anyways, I just share that example because I'm an individual that did not enjoy the traditional learning. But it wasn't until one of my friends, one of my mentors, he quoted somebody named Jim Rohn, a business philosopher. And what he says is, formal education will make you a living, but self-education will make you a fortune. And I want you guys to take that in. Self-education will make you a fortune. If my goal is to become an amazing three-point shooter, the best of the best, and I go and hire Steph Curry to learn that skill and to master that skill, am I gonna level up? Am I gonna become one of the best? You bet your fucking bottom ass dollar you should become a better three-point shooter if you go and you hire the best. In the business world, if your goal is to master remote sales and figure out how you can become a beast, and you go out and you find the Michael Jordan, the Steph Curry of that industry, you hire him to show you everything you know, to lay out the proven plan of action. Do you think you're going to get better? Exactly. So that's the reason why I'm actually in Dubai here right now. There is a business mastermind with a group of individuals that are making, I don't even want to say the figures they're making, but anywhere up north of $200 to $1 million a month in their businesses. These guys are some of the best in the world when it comes to running online businesses, building sales teams, basically doing all of those things that I'm trying to level up and do. So that's why I'm here right now. I took my hard-earned money, I invested in myself, I jumped on a flight 15 hours from Canada to here to get that knowledge, to surround myself with people that are absolutely killing the game right now, to level up. And if you really want to level up, if you really want to become an absolute beast, you need to be investing in your skills. You need to be investing in yourself. I'm committed to being a lifelong learner, and I'm committed to constant and never-ending improvement in that regard. So it's just funny because, like I said, I hated school, but now that I'm done school, I'm in my 30s right now, but now that I'm done school, I love to learn. I love to learn new skills on how to market on YouTube, how to market on Facebook, how to sell better, how to run more efficient sales teams, because these are the skills that I could use that will catapult me to astronomical heights when it comes to my finances, to my income. And again, it's not about the finances and the income. It's not about the money you earn, it's the money you keep and that you invest. So guys, I hope that sheds some value, and there's a couple things that you could apply. Invest in yourself, invest in real estate or the stock. It doesn't even have to be real estate. It could be the stock market, it could be crypto, it could be whatever. But if there's one thing I want you guys to get out of this, that's investing in yourself. It's untaxable, no one can take it away from you. And the more skills you have, the more value you have in the marketplace. And if you have more value in the marketplace, there isn't an opportunity you can't get involved in and absolutely crush, because you have the right skill sets, you have the right mindsets, and yeah, sky's the limit. But it's funny, when I look at the 75,000 plus I invested last year in self-improvement and courses and whatnot, I think of it, I'm like, dude, that's another down payment on a house, or that's a payment to a car or something like that. And at first, when I looked at my bank balance, I was a little hurt because my bank balance is $75,000 less. And it's not like overnight you see that return. But what it is like, if I was investing in the stock market, which I already said I'm not a big stock kind of guy, but if I'm investing in the stock market, we could agree that I have to take the money out of the account, put it in the stock, and after time, it's going to go up, it's going to go down, it's going to go up, it's going to go down, but over 3, 5, 10 years, you're going to see massive returns. And that's the same thing when it comes to investing in yourself, investing in your business skills, investing in communications, investing in leadership skills, and just leveling up. So I hope that helps, guys. Again, don't let your learning lead to knowledge, let it lead to action. Take a nugget and actually apply it. Have a good one.